Imagine making this flea dress and a flea sleeve for yourself. This is a very easy dress to make for both beginners and advanced fashion designers. So stay tuned as I take you on how I made this beautiful flea dress and a flea sleeve. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. So before then, we are going to be having a free master class for those who are beginners. So if you are interested, please click on the description box to join this group for free. Let's get into today's topic. So moving on, we start by laying out this fabric into two equal parts. So after laying it in this format, you're actually going to make sure it's very straight. So moving on, we are now going to fold the two equal parts into another two equal parts like this, but it will be in a slanted way like this. So because this fabric is a 2 yard fabric, we are actually managing this fabric. You could decide to use a bigger fabric for it, like 3 yards or 4 yards, on how big you want it to be. So moving on, we'll start by measuring the full length of our client, which is 38 inches. So at the down part, this where this arrow is indicating, we are going to be joining it at that part. So moving on, we're going to measure 38 inches. We actually made it 38.5 inches from the upper part like this. You make it 38.5 inches, then you mark it out. After marking it out, you are going to now start from that point you marked it out and start measuring the 38 inches round the fabric or the down part in this way. You move it round as we are doing like this. So after moving it round in this manner, you make sure that it's actually accurate to what you have on the other side. So moving on to that, after doing that, you're now going to start by measuring the shoulder of the person, which here we have the shoulder of 17 inches. Then we marked it out, then go down by 1 inch. After going down by 1 inch, then we connect the lines together. From there, we'll move on to our armhole as we are doing like this, our armhole of 8 inches. We impute the bust of 40 inches divided by 4, we have 10. After measuring the 10, then we now slant it from the bust down to the downside. Then the neckline for this is actually 4 inches because the person is very wide. She's very wide, so we need to make the neckline to be 4 inches by whatever. For here we did 4 inches by 2 inches for the neckline. So moving on, we are going to now separate one of this thing because it's actually cut together, both the back and the front. It's not having a zipper around. So we are going to now move on to the cutting the neck depth of the front line. So we'll move on to cutting it by 4 inches by 4 inches. You could decide to use 4 inches by 5 inches depending on how wide or how deep you want it to be. But for my client here, I use 4 inches by 4 inches. You can see as I'm cutting it out, 4 inches by 4 inches. Then we mark it out, then cut out the neckline of my client. So moving on to this, we are going to now start by infusing the cutting out the interface because we are not using any lining for this part. So before then, we are going to start by cutting out the sleeve of this dress. The sleeve is the same way we are going to cut out one of the sleeve because we have limited material. So to cut out the sleeve, we're going to be folding it into the slanted way like we did on the dress itself. Then we're moving on. We start by measuring the full length of the sleeve. We have 26 inches. Then you measure 26 inches round the down path like this. So it could be very accurate when the person is measuring. You can see the arrow pointing at that point. So after measuring this, and you're going to make sure you could decide to use on how wide you want your flay to be. You could decide to make it fuller, but because we have a limited material, so you're actually using it on this part. So you can see that on this point, so we measure 2.5 inches, then from there we'll go down by 4 inches. From that 4 inches we measure our armhole of 16 inches, which is 8 divided by 2. Then we connect the lines together and actually move on to cutting the fabric, the sleeve itself. So after cutting out the sleeve, this is how you make sure you cut out your sleeve, so you do not have any, to give you the balance that you want. So you could, have said it before, you could decide to use your, to make it very very big. There are sleeves that are bigger than this, but that depends on your material that you have. So moving on, we are going to use this to cut another sleeve, the second part of the sleeve that was done of the camera. So move on to cutting out the sleeve, the interface of the neck, because we are not using any lining for this. This is actually a chiffon material that is very chic, and this is the best material you can use to make this kind of dress. Not that you can't use other dress, but it's actually very very shaky. Chiffons are very shaky, and it makes it more beautiful when wearing it. So we did that. After doing that, we do the same interface for the neck line for the back. So to get the back interface, we actually, to get this proper interface, we measure 3 inches round. You're going to be placing your fabric, the dress that already be cut out, the dress itself, we are going to be folding it and placing it on the material that you're seeing right now. You place it in this manner, make sure that it's sitting well, it's having extra allowance, so you can cut out the neckline properly. Then you trace out the neckline. After tracing out the neckline, you now move ahead to cutting out the neckline on it like this. After cutting it, you now move ahead to start by measuring this path which we have here. We have 3 inches on all of the path like this. We measure 3 inches on all of the parts so it could be accurate. This is actually, I'm doing this because of my beginners, of the beginners, so you can feel free if in case you don't understand how to make this. So I'm sure you like this video. Please give me a thumbs up by liking, sharing, commenting, and also subscribing to my channel. See you next time.